Alrighty, I should be going live now. For anybody filing in right now or seeing this in the replay, I would ask you to consider liking and subscribing. Either way, preferably both. But with that, in this stream, I'm just gonna set up my stream deck. Like, I recorded a video, but in reality, I seldom edit and upload the video because, you know, editing can be a bit of a pain in the butt. So I figured we just go live and roll with it. So, this is my downward facing webcam. You can't see it right now because I did a little, you know, tweaking where I, basically cropped this part of my frame. And in fact, wait, there's a line there. But made a box over here, so, you know, if I put a drink over here, it doesn't disappear. You know, that would look just weird if my drink disappeared into nothing. Although, if let's say I had a drinking problem and I wanted to hide the fact I had a problem, I could hide my alcohol over here and then kind of like lean over to drink and nobody would know. But no, it just makes more sense to make the water visible. Otherwise, if we expand it, then you see my window. And so actually I cropped it to hide my secondary camera. But on a bright sunny day, I actually do have to crop the frame to prevent the sunlight from disrupting the webcam. At least that's how it was with my old webcam. Now, this is a fine webcam, but it has served its purpose. And it's kind of, I don't want to really re-articulate the arm right now, but I have it mounted to an arm. It's got 3 arms and 3 elbows and 6 joints on the elbows. And so I can loosen up a wing nut and move this side to side and up to down. And even the camera itself can rotate and, you know, pivot. So we're in pretty good shape. Now, this camera is the Nexigo. It's made by a company called Nexigo. And it's capable of 1080p at 60 frames a second. This was my primary webcam. It was good because it had a really wide angle lens, and if you rotate the front objective, the front lens, you can actually, you know, manually focus it. So if you had to hold an object really close to it, like a label, you could, you know, turn this and make it quite legible. But the color on it, or the type of image sensor it had, just wasn't well suited to this whole green screen thing, you know? I mean, like, this camera is way better, and we're running the Elgato face cam. I might even have the box. Yes, I do. So yeah, I bought this on Black Friday, but it might be still on sale right now. And what makes this camera special is that it is the closest you can get to a Sony A600 mirrorless camera without spending $400. And basically it's got a good image sensor inside of it. It's got a Sony Starvis image sensor, which I believe is also in use on some of the astrophotography cameras because of its near infrared sensitivity, probably on a planetary imager. But for our purposes, it has, I guess, the right bit of color, so to speak, to do effective green screen. My old camera, it's an okay camera, but I would get some matte lines, I would have like blending, I would have color spill, but mainly like the edges would get blurry, they would flicker with the background, and the microphone would often blend with the background, and I'd have to really mess with the settings to prevent this from becoming part of the background. And just to be sure, because sometimes when I'm looking at the image on a small, you know, screen, I may not see the imperfections. So I'm gonna do a quick test here, if I could just get it to cooperate. Yeah, I mean, nothing is blending. There is a little bit of blending like right here. I'm noticing in full screen mode right now that this is blending a little bit. And so for my first thing, I think we're gonna fix that, even though this video is supposed to be focused on setting up the Stream Deck. It is really important I solve this issue with the green screen. So I'm gonna try and do that right now. So there we go. That is my secondary monitor, although we can also just switch to it like that. Actually, I don't want to do that because I need to get a preview. I need to get a I need a preview of my webcam in order to judge how the adjustments are going. So what we're going to do is we're going to crop this a lot. And we're going to put the window with the adjustments into that display. And so now I have to right click on the webcam, and just so you can see what I'm doing, I'm on my secondary monitor, and we're gonna actually, I have to go over to my main camera. I have to right click on the camera group, open up the filters panel, which is what you're looking at over here. So now we'll expand it a little bit. I'll move it up so that we can really get in tight. Now, sometimes, especially on my old webcam, it would be really helpful to be able to adjust the color and contrast, to adjust the brightness and the white balance, especially on a camera like this one here, which is being blocked right now. Oh yeah, I have it on a dovetail too, so this is cool. This is like a quick release dovetail. So you have this like little sliding mechanism here where you can lock it into place or unlock it really easily, and then you can slide it back on. It's basically on a little rail, and then it locks right in. But what we're gonna do now is mess with these settings right over here. And so when you got Chroma key, you turn the filter on and off like this, and then you can adjust it over here. So what I need to do is, in fact, I need to move this window a little more to the left because I want to have this on my screen in a place where I can see it while being able to, fiddle. So we're going to move this over, and in near real time, we'll just go ahead and do that, and then I should be in good shape. So now I have a nice large preview on my primary display. And as I adjust these settings, I can really see what it looks like, because over here you're going to see the gray background, but on the right side of my screen, I'm going to see what you see right here, complete with the background. And we're going to stick with this background, although later on I might find other images clash, because one of the reasons I chose this background is because even when the Chroma key didn't work, it helped me hide that fact. Right now, we have a little blending over here because there's a splash of green paint on my desk. But when we turn on the Chroma key, no big deal. I mean, so this is going to blend a little, can't help it. This is like really close to the wall, so it's reflecting the color green. But what I like about this camera is the color yellow doesn't exactly cause problems. On my other camera, well, okay, the color yellow is causing some problems, but it's pretty close to green. But from this distance, it looks pretty yellow, so I can live with that. And I can always rotate it like that. So anyway, what we're going to do is remember these settings as we play with them. So number one is similarity. It's at 449. So I'm going to just copy that. And what does similarity do? Well, this thing is blending over here, right? So what if we lower it? This is what similarity does. I believe the default setting was something like 4 and change, like 418. And so we got some major, you know, matte lines and color spill going on all over the place. And if I bring it to 449, it's pretty good. If I bring it too high, you can see how, you know, sure, we don't get any color spill, but I become Samuel Beckett, or I become the hologram from Quantum Leap when it begins to disappear. So, you know, that obviously isn't very aesthetically pleasing, but believe it or not, it is an improvement on the last camera. So I had to pick pretty aggressive settings, but it causes my microphone to disappear. Problem is, if I make it too low, well, you see the problem right here. So I'm going to use my keyboard and see, you know, to what amount I can crank it up before the microphone blends in. And it doesn't take a lot for it to disappear. So I'm going to just make some note, because I have a bad feeling that I'm going to forget these settings if I reset them. Because at this point, I want to know, what is the default setting? In fact, I could probably just do this. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to put the setting back to where it was. And we're going to just create a second chroma key. So we're going to turn that off. And we're going to call it Croma. We're just going to call it Croma. And then, if there's my answer, the default number is 400. Before, it was 449. And you can see, like right here, the key color spill reduction. I had to lower it a lot in order to get it to work on this other camera. Whereas this superior camera, it's working pretty good. And bummer, you know, I might have to rename this video if I keep messing with the green screen. So we could just replicate the settings here. So the default was 400, and the key color spill should be 100. And when I crank it up, it kind of works. I mean, like, it's not perfect. I now have some serious matte lines here. But maybe cranking up the smoothness here will do the trick. And it looks like it's kind of working. So now I'm going to undo all of it, because I want to put it back the way I found it. Whoops. Okay. So we're going to start fresh with the brand new clean slate. And we're just going to play around with it. So let's see. We do have some blending over here. And we can lower this, but obviously if we lower the similarity, we start to go into a situation where we get major matte lines. I don't really want that. If I reduce my key color spill, problem is you start desaturating the hell out of it. We don't really want that either. What I would do is duplicate this and just keep it as a backup, and then I could play with this one to my heart's content. And if I have any problem, I can always revert back. So we're gonna do that right now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rename this video. That sucks, man. Bummer. Because at this point, this stream has become all about the Chroma key, and I'm just gonna rename the file. I'll get a new thumbnail image later on. Okay, so we're gonna call, what is this called? The Elgato Facecam Chroma key config. Tweaking. Right, there it is. Okay, I'll do the thumbnail image later. Okay, now. Honestly, if I could just rotate this, because it looks like if I just rotate this the right way, it doesn't really give me a problem. So originally when I put this thing up, I wanted it to be like perfectly flat, you know, with relation to the condenser mic. So you have a flat surface right here, and this prevents plosives like Peter Piper, and I got a little red light here telling me it blew out. So this helps with those, you know, plosives, but I don't really need it to be straight. I could angle it a little bit, and if that makes it more aesthetic, because you know, right here, the way the light's hitting it, I get like too much blending. Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna go crazy about adjusting this. So it is noteworthy that these are my original settings, and this is the updated profile. And so I think I'm gonna, you know, just rename the backup, because it's not a backup. This is it. I'm not touching the settings on this one at all, unless I duplicate it again. But it works. You know, sure, I could straighten out this cloth a little bit, sure, but overall it works. So I think I'm gonna just stick with it and start a new stream in which I play around with the stream deck, because, you know, I mean, might as well. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I do have a little issue here where the tip of this is blending in more than I would like it to, and maybe it's just a matter of adjusting my lights or using different lights or putting some matte paint on here, because if I had a matte black paint on here, that would prevent it from blending in, you know, because I want, what was that? I do not like that at all. I do not want to be a ghost. So actually, it looks like we're going to be playing with this a little bit longer because one of the issues I've had in the past is when you use a different background. So here's a great example. This is why I used this gray room. This gray room, for whatever reason, doesn't clash a lot. You know, it doesn't cause a lot of problems, or it doesn't make them obvious. But when you go to this background, problems become obvious. Now, in general, my advice to people would be that using different background images does not help or hurt your green screen or chroma keying. And that is generally true. But if you have problems with your chroma keying, be it your settings, your lighting, or something else, then some images will exacerbate the problem worse than others. That is definitely something I've learned in more recent time. And this is a good example. Now, perhaps if I simply move away from the wall, or move my lights away from me, or have more lights, different angles, you know, there's different ways to manage. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to stick with this more challenging image. And we're gonna use that's funny. So this one here is one of my older webcams, but basically it's the same background behind me. Why do I have this? This is so that if I'm on a live stream and I don't want people to know that I left, like I'm on someone else's channel, I can put this up real quick and leave. And people think my computer is frozen. Maybe they think the internet connection is sluggish. I don't really care. You know, bottom line is I can leave and look like I'm here. So I haven't deleted that image even though I don't really need it because, you know, it's good to have. This one's cool. This is a quantum core. And this is one of the ones that sometimes, like you can see like the angle I turn my head. Like right here is where it causes problems on my left ear. But it's like not terrible overall. If I angle this, it might blend a little bit, but not too bad. Some of this microphone hardware, this little knob sort of blends in a quite a weird way. This thing here, the way it reflects light. So I'm gonna go and stick with the more complicated image for now because this one allows me to see right here if there's an issue, and if I could fix the image quality with this image, maybe there will be hope. So we're gonna go back to the new chroma key setting and let's see, 4442. Now you can also, apparently you can layer the effect. You can have like multiple layers of chroma key and have different adjustments. I'm not sure if this is actually a good idea, but it can definitely be done because I'm seeing this mug over here. This tumbler is changing a little bit when I turn on or off a single layer. So I got to turn off the rear layer and then play with the settings for the new chroma key. So if we make it higher, we see the effect. If we make it lower, we run into this problem. So ultimately, I'm not going to worry if this beverage container blends in. I don't want it to be too much, but I'm more worried about my human head. And I think there's going to need to be some room to tolerate some issue here and there, but what am I going to do about the area down here? Because I don't really want to have green over here, you know? So I actually have two solutions here. And it's super inconvenient, but we do have two solutions. So if I go back to my secondary display, I can go down here and I can, oh wait, I keep forgetting you can't do that. There we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna use studio mode so that I can go back here and play with settings while I stream the right screen. So you should be seeing, you know, this, and a little box on the top left is actually what I'm going to be manipulating. So now, if memory serves me right, I would have to go to the camera layer, main camera group, and duplicate it. And when I duplicate the camera group, it's going to duplicate. Wait, what the hell just happened? Okay, there we go. So now I have a duplicate of the main camera group. So I'm going to put it in a layer on top of the original camera group. And yep. Now I'm going to transition to this because I need to see. Okay, very good. So basically, I have two layers, right? But the important thing is that I can have two different sets of settings. Not only that, but I can do something insane. So in this case, I want one of these layers to be for the bottom portion of my screen. And so I can perhaps put this layer on top of that layer, and then take this top portion and crop the whole darn thing. So you can't see any effect yet, but you're going to see something right now when I crop this part. So now you have a gap over here. So what I did was have the same camera here and here, but these are two different things. And if we go back over to the left monitor, you can see now this only affects this, which is what we want. And so we can go back to the original settings that more or less worked, or we can try these out. Now, one thing I'm noticing is some serious color spill. Now, I think at this point I just got to crank it up, and I can probably crank this one up too a little bit, and I'm just going to strike a balance and call it. That'll have to be fine. So it's 431, 50, 85. So I'm just going to write that down. Okay. Now we can close that panel, and I'm going to go back to my secondary monitor. I'm going to right click on filters, and we basically have duplicate copies, except that the numbers here are different now. And that's okay because we're going to do some tweaking. So first, I'm going to close the gap a little bit, but I want to keep a little gap here because I want you to be able to see the line between the top and the bottom. So this parallel here is where the two separate cameras or separate camera groups are located. And we're going to go ahead and just to prove that we are doing something here. And there are many ways to skin a cat, but just by increasing this a lot, that alone, I think, is enough. Like, okay, we bring it up to 429, 430. Maybe we crank up the color spill a little bit, but I'm not crazy about doing that. Maybe we lower or increase the smoothness a little bit. There's many ways to skin a cat on this one. And then we go back here. And we can cause a little overlap like right here. And I think that's basically it. I think I'm good. I think it's good. So, yeah, shit. I think we did it. I think we did it. Like, yes, there's gonna be like this weird line over here. Like, you can actually see like a little parallel shadow. Like, I'm not 100% why it's a neat little line. I feel like there should be like one line. I feel like there's actually like a little parallel line here. But either way, my hand can go between here and here with no major, no real noticeable detail. Yes, this half of the green screen is being handled differently than this half of the green screen. So maybe if we play with the lighting a little bit. Yeah, like you can see like a little delineation here. But all in all, I think this is fine. I think we did it. And then I can go back here and here and here. Do that. And I can do, there we go. And then, oh wait, now my cup is half gone. Well, we could fix that right now. I'm just going to expand that a little bit and shrink that a little bit. And okay, that's got to be done a little differently. So we're going to bring that to the thing. Bring this to the right. Beautiful. That is close to perfect. No, sure, there's always room for improvement, but all in all, this was way less of a pain in the butt than it was with this camera here. So I'm a happy camper here. So for the next stream, which we're going to do right after this, I'm going to be playing with the Elgato Stream Deck, and it's like I got to reposition this. Now, yes, the image looks really dark, and I did that on purpose because I want it to be possible to see the screen on my Stream Deck. Now, I've thought about lowering the camera a lot. In fact, we could do that right here, okay. But I wouldn't normally make a habit of bringing my camera so low because then it's blocking my view. But for the purposes of the next video, it's going to be fine because what we want to do is crop it and zoom in a lot. And then for all I care, I can rotate it a little bit. And that'll be perfect. Yeah, I mean, like, for demonstration purposes, this will serve my needs. So I can show people how to, how I'm setting it up at least. I mean, I honestly don't even know how to set it up. I did like 3 buttons on here just to see if it would work yesterday, and it didn't. And then today I replugged it and it worked. So, of course I downloaded the software first. And so now I can start recordings and I can pause the recordings, and either way I can start and stop. So in this case, it's currently recording. I had to make the image so dark so that you can actually see this, because when the button turns white, it's impossible to see the red dot. So that's why I had to crank down the exposure on here a lot. And then these other buttons, well, I don't even know what this does. Okay, cool. It goes nowhere, which is fine. It's actually yellow. But now maybe I'll add a stop stream button. I don't really want to add a stop stream button. I feel like I should start and stop streams using my mouse and keyboard. Whereas recording and pausing recordings, it makes sense. I obviously want to have a mute button over here, so we're going to proceed with that in one moment. So, you know, if nobody's watching, but if they were, I would say tune in. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you're watching on the replay, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. And with that, we shall now end transmission.